Mark, bearing in mind that you are Shadow Minister for Europe and that you are in the Shadow Cabinet, and of course we are entering a pre-election period, I guess, in the next year or so, and it's conceivable, I guess, in the light of the forecast that the Conservative Party may end up in government in this country, with or without the Liberal Democrats. I think I'm going to give the opportunity to our audience to ask you a couple of questions, if that's okay.
Yeah, please. The only thing is that I do have to get away by just a little bit before 8:30. But
absolutely fine. So, if there are any questions for Mark, please, could you take them now? I think it's extremely important that we hear from Mark. If you have any questions. No?
Well, thank you very much.
What is the official position of the Conservative Party regarding Turkey's application to Europe?
Turkey's application to Europe?
Yeah.
As you will be aware, sir, before you ask the question, we have supported in principle Turkey's application to join the European Union. That is a matter of record.
I follow the second question. If President...
Well, hang on, I haven't finished the first one yet. Thanks very much, sir. But I dealt with Jeremy Paxman the other week, so I think hopefully I can deal with this. So it has been our position that we have supported in principle Turkish membership of the European Union. But equally, it is clear that there needs to be quite a degree of change in Turkey before we believe that country is ready to become a full member of the EU. So, while we have supported it in principle, there are a number of issues that need to be resolved before Turkey can join the European Union. And of course, no country can join the European Union unless all of the other countries agree. And that, of course, means Cyprus would have to agree as well. So it's not merely a matter of what our position is, it's a matter of the position of all the other countries in the EU, not less Cyprus itself. Now, your supplementary, please.
Is the Cyprus issue one of the terms that Turkey must meet before entry?
I think it would be very difficult to see Turkey enter into the European Union while this issue remains completely unresolved, not least for the reason I've just given, that Cyprus itself would have a veto. So it's difficult to see a set of circumstances, I think, even if you leave aside the British perspective for a moment, where Cyprus would be happy to allow Turkey to enter the EU unless there's some settlement to the Cyprus issue. So I think, even from a Cypriot perspective, I think it's fairly obvious what the response to that might have to be. So, as I've said, just to amplify, we are encouraged in one way by the fact that there are talks and that those talks are making progress. Perhaps they're not making as much progress as some people would like to see, but the fact that there is dialogue ongoing at the moment is encouraging. And when I was a young platoon commander back in the last century, one of the things the army taught me is you can study as much as you want, but there is nothing like going and seeing something for yourself. And so it's my intention in April to go to Cyprus to try and see some of these things for myself, and hopefully to come back better informed as a result.
Thank
I
you,
hope
Mark.
that's a good answer to your question.
Mark, I'm just going to take one more question from Mark, because this is not really meant to be. It was just an opportunity because you're here.
No, that's fine.
So, Kyriakos Cyprus, who's also...
Mr. Francois.
Yes, sir, we've met before.
Can you elaborate? Yes, of course. Can you elaborate on this term of complex problem with regard to the essence of the Cyprus question?
Well, if this problem were simple, then I suspect it would have been solved quite some time ago. I have been lobbied by representatives from both sides of this debate, as you would well expect, and both sides have given me a version of history, as it were, as you would expect, from their perspective. And it's clear to me that history plays a great deal in this whole debate. There are two different chronologies in this, two different versions of history of what happened in Cyprus. All I would say is that if we are to achieve a lasting and permanent settlement for Cyprus, then that history cannot be forgotten, but equally, at some point, all parties concerned have to agree to look to the future. If merely if it is purely a debate about the history of the issue and everybody becomes totally absorbed with that, then unfortunately it may be difficult to go forward. I believe at some point all parties concerned have to look forward into the future and hopefully as a result of that be able to come to some agreement that will allow hopefully the island to be unified. That is what I've learned so far, but I make the point that I still have much to learn, and in that sense that's why I've offered to go and try and learn things on the ground. I hope that's an honest answer to your question. But I know you've got other people, colleagues who want to speak, and I don't want to squeeze anybody out, but thank you very much for allowing me to attend your meeting and to address you, and thank you for giving me an opportunity to answer at least a couple of questions. I'm very grateful to you, Chairman. Consider me lobbied. That's all.
Mark, no, thank you very much indeed. And thank you for Mark, I know you were planning to visit Cyprus, but we have been invited to come to the Federation headquarters for dinner as well, to know what to do, and that's going to happen in the
Indeed.